Hey guys, welcome to Smack Talk Wrestling Reviews. I am your host Boise. This is Raw review for March the 18th, 2019 from Chicago. And let's get straight on with the review. So we kicked off the show with Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. Wow, the Universal Champion actually turned up to his job for once. And Paul Heyman did a fantastic job building up the feud for both Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins' story to WrestleMania. He also highlighted the main event match of the night, where it will be Drew McIntyre taking on Seth Rollins in a match. Drew McIntyre comes out, he appreciates everything Paul Heyman has said, and he kicks off a great little promo about how he's going to destroy Seth Rollins. Before we know it, Seth Rollins comes out from the back, destroys Drew McIntyre with a chair, and then he chases off Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman at the same time. Really strong segment for this, for the opening part. Really builds up the main event match of the night, and it also gives like a hint of what could happen later on as well. For me, this is a great start to the show. I'm going to give this a 2.5 stars out of 5. So our first match of the night was a tag team match where we saw Finn Balor teaming up with Braun Strowman, taking on Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush. They were building up all week through WWE.com and everything who would be Finn Balor's mystery tag team partner. Before the match even started though, and before it was even revealed, Michael Cole kind of spoiled it by announcing this tag team match will be a monster of a tag team match. And he was like, it's Braun Strowman. And guess what? It was Braun Strowman. And I'm not going to lie guys, this was possibly the best bit about the whole match, was Braun Strowman actually being involved, because Finn Balor and Bobby Lashley did very little in this match. Bobby Lashley and Finn were in very little at all to do with this match. Lio Rush was brilliant in this match for all he's done. He made Braun Strowman look like a monster again, which is always good. And Braun Strowman was literally a monster throughout this whole match. He took out Bobby Lashley, he took out Lio Rush, and he got the victory for his team. Finn, again, the guy who's the number one contender for the Intercontinental Champion now, feels like, why is he the Intercontinental Champion's number one contender when it should be Braun Strowman? But yes, it is a very lackluster tag team match. Braun coming out looking the best out of it all. Lio Rush doing a fantastic job selling, in my opinion. So I'm going to give this a 2 out of 5 stars. Could have done a lot better with this segment. It should have been a one-on-one match, in my opinion. Next up, we had a moment of bliss. Now, this all started with Alexa Bliss announcing her special guest for this week was Elias. Elias had a huge announcement for WrestleMania, and his announcement was that he will be the musical act for WrestleMania this year. Makes sense. You've got a superstar whose gimmick is he is the biggest rock star in the world, and yeah, makes sense. It's a big stage for him to perform at. WWE obviously put a lot of effort into doing his CD last year, so it makes sense that they're going to use this as a platform for Elias as well. Next thing we know, No Way Jose's conga line comes out. They were with Heavy Machinery. Elias gets absolutely irritated by this, and shock horror, the man in the lucha mask was none other than No Way Jose, which led to a match. The match itself was pretty dire, to say the least. It was dull. It was pretty predictable. We knew Elias was going to get the victory on this one. The conga line were outside the ring cheering for No Way Jose. No Way Jose, this is probably his best match he's had so far, and that's saying something. But yes, Elias did get the win with the drift away, and that was about it. I'm going to give this another 2.5 star. Big announcement for WrestleMania, but the match itself was quite predictable, and it was very lackluster, to say the least. Next up, we had probably a huge announcement for WrestleMania. This was going to be Kurt Angle's final opponent in his career. So Kurt Angle comes out, crowd are absolutely buzzing to see Kurt Angle. I like this farewell tour. I think it's great that he's having matches at, leading up to WrestleMania. I think that is fantastic. Kurt Angle's always felt like, for me, an open challenge kind of guy, and having guys like Apollo, and this week we had Chad Gable going for, into this farewell tour. Chad Gable being one of the dream matches for WrestleMania was quite nice. But yes, the announcement wasn't very nice indeed. Kurt Angle announced that it will be none other than Baron Corbin who will be his final opponent at WrestleMania. Bit of a waste of a spot for me at WrestleMania, to say the least. I was very, very disappointed. I was hoping he would just say, look, it's going to be John Cena or Undertaker, but no. He announces Baron Corbin. Hopefully they will change that. The backlash on social media was huge when that announcement was made from the fans. But the match itself, Chad Gable did a fantastic job. It just shows you how much speed and ability Kurt has lost over the years in this match, because Chad Gable was the driving force. He really carried this match in went overtime to make Kurt Angle look quite good in this match. But yeah, it was a lackluster match itself. It was a feel-good moment when Kurt got Chad Gable to tap out, and then after the match, Baron Corbin comes out and mocks Kurt Angle, saying that it's his own damn fault. He's going to lose his final match, and it's all because he chose Baron himself to be his final opponent. I'm going to give this match a 2 out of 5 stars. Again, the announcement wasn't really great. It was very, very lackluster, but Chad Gable did a fantastic job to make the match bearable, to say the least. So 2.5 stars, I think, is a reasonable score. Next up, we had Sasha Banks and Bayley cutting a promo. They were talking about how they've been on NXT and had challenges on Raw as well. The interviewer did ask them about their time going to SmackDown Live, yet they haven't been there. Sasha Banks and Bayley quickly squashed this and state that they are going to SmackDown Live tomorrow night, and it will be iconic. They were quickly interrupted by Natalya and none other than the Hall of Famer, the legend, the Phoenix one, Beth Phoenix. That's right. Awesome to see Beth Phoenix back in yet again on TV. Beth cuts a quick promo stating that she was happy to stay on the sidelines watching the Women's Evolution before Nia Jax and Tamina attacked her, and now they have awoken the dragon, and Beth Phoenix has challenged Sasha Banks and Bayley to the women's tag team titles with Natalya. Natalya cuts a quick promo towards Sasha Banks, where Sasha Banks doesn't take that quite well, and they start getting into a bit of a fight. Beth Phoenix pushes everyone out of the way, and she pretty much controls that whole situation. This led to Natalya versus Sasha Banks, which was a quick match. There was nothing really into it before Tamina comes out of nowhere and she attacks both Bayley, Beth Phoenix and Sasha Banks, which ends the match in DQ. Nia Jax also is out at the time, and she cuts a promo against Beth Phoenix, stating that she's done more in her 3 years than Beth Phoenix has done in her whole WWE career. This is definitely leading to a big women's tag team match for the women's tag team championships, but it's interesting to see. I'm going to give this a 2 out of 5 stars, mainly because the Beth Phoenix announced she's coming out of retirement for this title match was possibly the best bit about it all. The Nia Jax promo was pretty lame, and the match itself didn't really get started at all. Next up, we had a showcase match, which means that we had Ricochet versus Jinder Mahal. This was really, really weird for a squash match. Mainly because majority of it Jinder Mahal was mostly focused on, which made no sense, seeing as Ricochet is the hottest commodity on both Raw and SmackDown right now. And yes, Ricochet got to shine for the last 2 minutes in this match, but they were very much focusing on Jinder Mahal. Very weird for my liking. But yes, Ricochet did get the victory. A very, very basic squash match in my opinion, so I'm going to give this a 1.5 stars. Next up, we had a Raw Women's Championship match where we saw Ronda Rousey taking on none other than Dana Brooke. Before the match even started, Ronda Rousey was shown backstage coming late to work, and one of the referees saying, look, we've got extra security and Ronda, you are late. She does not give a damn. In the match itself, it was only about 15 seconds long. Dana Brooke literally tapping out in no time. And then Ronda Rousey getting frustrated after the referee's trying to get her off Dana Brooke after she was tapping and tapping and tapping to get out of the armbar. She pushed the referee. Security comes out. She and her husband beat up some security members, and they lead off. Obviously this is building up Ronda Rousey's I don't give a damn attitude for a new heel persona, and I kind of think it works quite well. The match did exactly what it needed to do. It's showcasing that Ronda Rousey just doesn't give a damn anymore. If you're a referee or a superstar, she's too big of a star to actually care. Her husband's presence there was interesting. I don't know why they added that factor. Is that going to be a factor to WrestleMania? We'll have to wait and see. But it was definitely a good showcase for Ronda Rousey's new attitude. So I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5 stars, even though the match was very much a 15-second match. Next up, we had Apollo versus Baron Corbin. This started backstage after Apollo confronted Baron Corbin for what he stated to Kurt Angle after his match against Chad Gable earlier on in the show. Baron agreed, and the match itself was very, very basic. Apollo looked really good in the match, for my opinion. He looked really good. Compared to Baron Corbin, who's getting a very big spot at WrestleMania, he did not look that entertaining. The match really didn't get started until right to the end, and then it ended in a roll-up for Apollo to get the victory. Kurt Angle did come out to celebrate with Apollo for beating Baron Corbin, but again, I don't understand where Corbin's coming in for this match. It's really weird. Baron Corbin loses to Apollo. He's going into a big marquee match for WrestleMania. It feels for me right now that it's a wasted spot, but we'll have to wait and see how WWE creative team goes at it. I know they could possibly pull something out of the bag which could change everything, but right now this feels like a waste of time and effort with the Baron Corbin's angle. So for me, I'm going to give this a 2 out of 5 stars. Apollo looked very sharp, but Corbin looked very weak. Next up, we had Michael Cole interview Batista. Batista was giving his side of the rivalry between him and Triple H, and it was quite interesting. Michael Cole stated, "But look, I've worked with Triple H for 20 years, and he's always been one of the best guys to work with." Batista goes, "Look, he's the assassin. He works on your mind. He's got you all tricked. He was supposed to be my friend, and he didn't feel like I was a big enough superstar, and I left the company because of him. He wasn't there to support me, and look what I've been able to do since I've left the company." Batista comes off looking like an absolute brilliant heel in this match, and it's a great build up to both Triple H's and his match at WrestleMania. It's a solid promo from a veteran who definitely knows his work rate is going to be on the line here. I cannot wait. The interview just came across fantastic. Michael Cole actually did a fantastic job in this, and Batista's selling on this promo was brilliant. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5 stars. I definitely recommend checking it out on WWE.com. Last but not least, our main event of the night, and it was Drew McIntyre versus Seth friggin' Rollins. Before the match even started, Drew McIntyre cut a fantastic promo talking about how he destroyed the Shield in no time, and that now, after his Fastlane match against Roman Reigns, he definitely can tell that the big dog is not 100%, and he's going to put a challenge to Roman going to WrestleMania. That's right, Drew McIntyre is challenging Roman Reigns to a match at WrestleMania. This is an instant brilliant idea from WWE. Drew McIntyre's already got super heat from his attack to Roman Reigns from last week, and his destructive match against Dean Ambrose. And after this match, he definitely had all the heat in the world. And it's instant. It's gonna be a big match. It could be easily worked. Drew's a great worker, so obviously if Roman isn't at 100%, someone like Drew McIntyre, who is a professional, could easily carry that match and make it a really, really entertaining match. I thought this was a fantastic idea. I think it's a great opportunity, and it will allow Roman to have a big match at WrestleMania. So fantastic part for that. This led on to the match itself, where Finn Balor and Drew McIntyre started straight away at the entranceway, where both men went at it. It was a fantastic match, and probably the best match both men have had in, I think, since they've started that feud a few months back, going for the Intercontinental Championship. That's how good this match really was. Seth really working everything, and Drew McIntyre coming off as the psychotic Terminator in every single way. It seemed like every time Seth went up a gear, Drew went up too, just so that Seth felt more and more like he could not give up, and it was a well worked match. Yes, the ending was quite predictable when Brock Lesnar did come out to give the distraction, allowing Drew McIntyre to get the victory with the Claymore kick, but to say the least, this was a fantastic main event and really showcased what WWE can do when they allow two superstars at that talent to have a good showcase match. Drew did get the victory, but the match itself was brilliant. It doesn't really damage Seth Rollins' momentum going into WrestleMania, but it gives a lot more momentum going to Drew McIntyre going into WrestleMania, giving instant heat for his match against Roman Reigns. So for me, I'm going to give this a 3.5 stars out of 5. Definitely the best match of the night, and definitely the saving grace of Raw this week. And there you go, guys, that was Raw for this week. A very lackluster episode of Raw. The main event was probably the best bit about it, and Ronda Rousey's attitude is probably, again, Batista interview was fantastic as well, but everything else just felt lackluster and very, very predictable. I'm going to give this a 2 out of 5 for this week for Raw. Very disappointed. SmackDown's looking more and more like it's going to be the better show this week, with the Kofi Kingston match going to happen, with Bayley and Sasha Banks, as well as The Miz going to face Shane O'Mac this week. So yeah, SmackDown looking really stacked right now compared to this very lackluster Raw episode. But what was your favourite part about Raw this week, guys? Leave it in the comments below. If you do like our videos, don't forget to like, subscribe, and press that bell to keep notified. And if you want to follow us on the old Twitter, it's at SmackTalkUTube. That's SmackTalk U and Tube. And if you want to follow me on the old Twitter, it's at Boise88. And I'll see you guys next time on Smack Talk Wrestling Reviews.